Yo, what's up, guys? Happy Friday. We're going to find some bets briefly. So we got a full slate of NBA, not much college basketball, but there is a lot of NBA today. So, figured we could try to find some early value. Looks like we have some pretty good games. I mean, some blowouts look like, the Trailblazers got blown out last night, lost both my parlays for me. But regardless, Celtics didn't show up either. So parlays got kind of destroyed yesterday. But hey, it's a new day, so I'm sure we'll find some bets. So in these live streams, I just have it filtered to show bets for the next 7 days. And then I try to focus on the main sports book. So this is a bet I locked in earlier on FanDuel, Robert Morris, first half money line. So you can see the market has kind of drifted towards Robert Morris. They've moved down. Pinnacle, a sharp book. They have the line at plus 114. Getting plus 132 on FanDuel seems solid. So again, like out of the tens of thousands of odds, there's limitless stuff we can bet every single day on FanDuel. Like if you just look at FanDuel, for one NBA game, the amount of crap you can bet, all these player prop markets, player points, 20 plus points, first quarter total points. We're just trying to zone in on the few spots, the few bets that actually have an edge. So what we'll do is we'll kind of check out PrizePicks, Underdog, see if there's any early value. It seemed like ParlayPlay had some. So again, there's a benefit to having a bunch of sports books. All these books have sign-up bonuses. ParlayPlay, you put in $100, you get 100 for free. So even if you don't want to use this sports book long term, like I tell all my friends, just sign up, take the $100, bet the free $100, and then you can withdraw the money. I mean, who cares? But take the easy $100. But anyways, let's kind of start looking for some bets for today. So it's going to be a little dry. It's early in the morning, but again, there's some value on ParlayPlay. We'll be able to find some slips. So a couple plays, the board is starting to drop on PrizePicks for the NFL. They had like player passing yards up, but they're dropping a lot of new lines like tackles plus assists, some more of the defensive props. And you can see there's some early value. So like Ernest Jones, right? Over 8.5 tackles plus assists. This is a play I locked in earlier. And if you take a look at all the sports books, so let's go back here. So we'll take a look at Underdog Fantasy here in a second. But again, like books are starting to drop NFL, all the player prop lines. So defensive props is if you just take a look at the market, and the market just means sports books, right? Even if you don't use sports books, you only use PrizePicks, you still want to look at their odds as a source of information. So Ernest Jones, all the books have him heavily favored, like you can see on Fliff right here. He's a big favorite, minus 155 favorite to go over 8.5 tackles plus assists. So the sports books are telling you through their odds that they think he's heavily favored, a lot more likely to go over. So that's a good play on PrizePicks. And one of the plays, I gave out on Twitter just now is essentially the way that PrizePicks works, right? And they got a lot of weird crap up. But the way that PrizePicks works is you take, a player's over, you get the same payout as if you take his under. So the main strategy for beating them is you just compare their lines to sports books. All the books have him heavily favored to go over 8.5 tackles plus assists. So that's the side we want to be on PrizePicks. But anyways, let's lock in a slip before we keep talking. I'm sure we'll be able to find some plays. So maybe we start out on ParlayPlay because the board's wet, right? There's a lot of good plays on Better right now. Some shitty little fantasy site. There's not much going on. But anyways, where should we start? Why not? De'Aaron Fox over 36.5 PRAs. So what we can do is we can go here and we can take a look at Fox. So sometimes the good values early when books are first dropping lines. Other times it's like, when you start seeing lineup news, what players are playing, who's not playing, who's sitting, that moves around the market. And again, all these books set their own lines, which is why, the market's super fragmented. Like you only get this in sports betting. A lot of people, I used to be a trader, is in, the stock market, it's super efficient. You go to Fidelity, Robinhood, you get the same prices. So you look here at De'Aaron Fox, right? We have literally 50 sports books, 50 data points. All these books, ESPN, Sleeper, Underdog, Dabble, FanDuel, right? All these books have his line at 37.5. On ParlayPlay, we're getting him at 36.5. And what's nice about ParlayPlay is you can like create your own Taco Tuesday, kind of. So if you wanted to, you can only do this once per day, but you can discount him. So like we like him over 36.5. We could discount him an additional 1.5 to get over 35 PRAs. But, you know, for now, I'm going to skip over using the discount. So we'll just take Fox over 36.5. And then let's see what other values, you know, kind of available in the market. Here's a play I locked in on Fliff. I gave this out on Twitter, but if you didn't already bet it, I do think it's pretty good. Josh Allen over 8.5 player rushing attempts. Although I will say you can get an even better line on Josh Allen on this new sportsbook called Dabble. So if you don't use Dabble, I included my refer a friend code below. It's a really good book to have. It's a new fantasy site. They have the same payouts, exact same payouts as Underdog Fantasy. So for Dabble, 3-pick or 5-pick entries are optimal. And if you take a look at Josh Allen's line, like Dabble has him at 8. All the other fantasy sites, Underdog, better, right? Even if you only use Dabble, these are data points. They'll have him at 8.5. And then the sports books not only have his line at 8.5, but they have his over favored or juiced. So you can see FanDuel, Dabble has his line at 8. FanDuel has his line at 8.5 with the over favored. So that seems like a great play to go with, just using market information to our advantage. But if you only use Fliff, I locked it in on Fliff as well. Over 8.5 rushing attempts for Josh Allen. But anyways. So let's build this parlay play slip quickly. Then we can go back to PrizePicks. We can take a look at the DGF correlation tool. We can just try to build some slips ideally. So let me get rid of FanDuel for now. I gave out some FanDuel bets on Twitter, you know, if you want to take a look. But anyways. So the second play is Anthony Edwards under 2.5 made threes. So again, the way that, you know, this platform works, ParlayPlay, it works just like PrizePicks. Like they have the exact same payouts for a 6-pick entry as PrizePicks. The only difference is they have different lines than PrizePicks. So you can see, like, we can't get Anthony Edwards on PrizePicks. This line's not available, right? There is no player threes line for Anthony Edwards on PrizePicks. So that's the benefit of having multiple sports books. So you can see all the books have him heavily favored to go under. On ParlayPlay, we take his over or his under. We get the same payout. So we want to take his under. But anyways, let's refresh this. Let's see what other values available in the market. So sometimes it's the more niche, you know, markets that have good lines. So if we take a look right here, you know, Sengun's line is 34.5 on ParlayPlay. And again, like I follow a very data-driven approach, whatever you want to call it. But what we can do is let's take a look at his line on other sports books. Obviously, blowout potential in this game. The Pistons fucking suck. So what we can do is we can just take a look at points plus rebounds, see what's going on here, right? So you can see, right? We have all these books, 34.5. All these other books have his line at 33.5. Pretty clear. So we found a second good play. And again, you know, sometimes there's more value on PrizePicks, but we're starting out on ParlayPlay. So we got 3 good picks. And what we need to do is just kind of, you know, finish building out our slip. There's a lot of NBA tonight, so that's a great thing. So what we can do is we can take Sadiq under 6.5 rebounds. All the books have his under heavily favored. Diggs over 5 receptions. So we had Diggs last week in a parlay against the Dolphins. That parlay won. Unfortunately, my parlays yesterday lost. But anyways, what we can do is we can go to Jokic over 45.5 PRAs. So I think this play was actually here. So you can take a look, right? All the books have, you know, you can see the market's already moved towards his over. You know, you can kind of like see in the line movement charts. So sometimes that's lineup driven. You know, why does the market move? Why does the price of a stock change? Sometimes it's like economic news, earnings reports, there's a lot of things that can move around the market. I mean, if Jamal Murray doesn't end up playing tonight, Jokic's line will probably move higher because he'll take more of the scoring load. But anyways, so we could go with a college basketball pick, or we can go with Maxey under 1.5 steals plus blocks, and we can make a 7-pick entry. So on parlay play, you can either play 6-pick entries with insurance or 7-pick entries, and I'll just play a little 7-pick entry. So there we go. We got our first play of the day on parlay play. NBA, NFL, 75x payout. So obviously, like 75x payouts, they're not going to hit as frequently as straight bets, but every single play has an edge. When you understand the math behind this platform, the percentage of picks you have to win. And then Josh Allen over 8.5 rushing attempts. If you haven't already hit that on Fliff, that seems like a pretty good play with value. But anyways, what we can do is we can also put FanDuel, DraftKings in, try to see if we can find anything. And, I have some of these random international sports books filtered out, but whatever. So here it's still this play on Robert Morris. I gave this out on Twitter. I mean, this looks rock solid. Anything else on FanDuel that strikes our eye? Anyways, let's go over to Underdog Fantasy. In some of these books, I also just like for example, Dabble. It's a good book. There's been a lot of value on the platform just in general, but there's no web app to bet through. It's only on a mobile app. You can only bet on it on your phone. So I can't really show my bets on a live stream well. But anyways, there's a lot of value on Dabble. So for example, I'll give you a simple example, and it may not seem like a big difference, but PrizePicks recently added these demons and goblins. So a goblin essentially is just a reduced payout. Usually when you take a 3-pick or a 2-pick entry on PrizePicks, you get a 3x payout, right? You're betting 20 to win 60. But with these goblins and demons, like the green ones, I think the green ones are a goblin, they reduce it. They add a payout shift. So now it's 2 to win 2.5x, 20 to win 50. So this is worse than a regular PrizePicks square, or you're getting a worse payout. But what you're going to see on Dabble is, sure, on PrizePicks, they're reducing your payout. They're giving this to you as a goblin. So you're only going to get a 2.5x payout. On Dabble, you can still get this line as a regular square, or what I meant to put in. So you can see they still have him as a regular square. So this is a really good play. I wouldn't play it on PrizePicks because they're drastically reducing your payout. They're making it a goblin, but I would play it on Dabble. So again, that's kind of, benefits of having multiple sports books. So, again, I can't bet on it. There's no web app, so I can't bet on it from my computer. So maybe we'll just skip it over for now. So we got a good play down on ParlayPlay. We can check out Underdog. Sheesh. So Underdog has some decent lines available. So let's check it out. The board is starting to drop for all the NBA player prop, all the NBA player lines tonight. So let's take a look. Let's refresh this. So this play just popped up. It's available on Dabble and Underdog. And you can see it's Herbert Jones under 3.5 rebounds. So Underdog just put this line up 2 minutes ago. I just pulled up the line movement chart. You can see they only released this line 2 minutes ago. So the board is just starting to drop. Herbert Jones. Anyways, let's refresh this. I have to refresh it because the line just dropped, or they just added Herbert Jones in general, it looks like. So what we want to do is we want to go to Herbert Jones under 3.5 rebounds. Although another good option is we could take him under 17.5 PRAs, which actually looks a little bit better. And then we have Hill under 7 receptions. So you can kind of pick. A lot of times when there's value on one player on his PRA line, it's not surprising there's also value on his rebound line. So if you just look at Herbert Jones, FanDuel has his line at 15.5. Bet Online has his line at 14.5. So I'm going to try to move quickly because, again, FanDuel will rip around some of these lines. So you can see hot streak. And did these fuckers already? No. Well, hopefully they didn't lock it yet. But anyways, Underdog Fantasy tends to bump things pretty quickly. So ideally we can get a play down, before they end up bumping it. Although we want a 3-pick entry on Underdog. And Underdog Fantasy, like Dabble, you'll see it comes up a lot more. It's kind of the book with more value, at least it seems like in general right now. So did they already bump this? Let me refresh it. Sometimes I'm just not quick enough. Or there's just, you can see they already removed it. So again, like you kind of are in a race. They already bumped him down to 16.5. We were just trying to bet him under 17.5. And a lot of people will be like, who the fuck cares? Bet it under 16.5. But again, like in terms of the value, in terms of your profit margin, your ROI long-term, under 16.5 versus under 17.5, it makes a big difference. So here's a play that looks quite good on FanDuel. First half total points, Hornets Spurs -108. FanDuel's the only book with the under juiced. All the other books, including Pinnacle, one of the sharpest books out there, they have the over heavily favored around like -130. But anyways, so that seems like a good play on FanDuel. Is again, just like thinking like a trader and investor, finding value, it really is the first step to being a profitable sports bettor. No one's going to win their bets every single day. But if you're finding value, finding plays with an edge, you'll make money long term. So where do we want to go to? So maybe we can check out a correlation play. So again, what makes PrizePicks very interesting is correlation. I mean, that's, like if you take as a simple example, Joe Flacco to go over and Amari Cooper to go over in receiving yards, like Cleveland quarterback, Cleveland wide receiver. Like obviously, if Joe Flacco goes over, Amari Cooper is a lot more likely to go over. Right? So if we take both overs together, we get a 5x payout. But if we switch this to an under, PrizePicks still gives us a 5x payout. Right? Which wouldn't make any sense. It would make no sense to take the QB over and the wide receiver under. Or, vice versa, the QB under and the wide receiver over. Like Amari Cooper's Joe Flacco, he's like, he's almost a third of his line. So if Joe Flacco goes over, Amari Cooper is more likely to go over. So essentially, that's what's really unique about PrizePicks when you kind of think about it, is if you look at a sports book like FanDuel, they price in correlation. So, for example, we go to passing props or we go to a little same game parlay tab. If you take, Joe Flacco's over and Amari Cooper's over, they only give you a payout of +161 on FanDuel. But if you switch this to Cooper's under, your payout goes up to +341, even though the odds are the same on the over and the under. And they're giving you a drastically worse payout because these plays are positively correlated. If Flacco goes over, Amari Cooper's a lot more likely to go over. So you can see a lot of the correlation value is on Dabble. They don't really have any blockers. The only thing you really have to be careful of with PrizePicks, with correlation, because it's insane. Like, it's insane that you can take advantage of this. Like, a sportsbook that gives you the same payout if you take a QB's over and a wide receiver's over as the QB's under and the wide receiver, like, it doesn't make any sense. If Joe Flacco goes over, Amari Cooper is much, much, much more likely to go over. But what you have to be careful of is payout shifts, right? So some books add a lot of rules like, oh, you can't, we're going to reduce your payout if you try to correlate. But some books are less stringent on their correlation rules, like Dabble, which is why Dabble is a, good book for correlation betting. But anyways, let's refresh this. So a bunch of plays we can't even bet on. But what we can do is we can start out here and let's take a look at Underdog and let's think about this play. So like you can see these things kind of make sense. Goff over in passing touchdowns, St. Brown over in yards, Reynolds over in targets, right? Like if the Lions are having a good game, Goff is more likely to throw passing touchdowns. And if, like all these things are positively correlated. If the Lions are driving the ball, St. Brown's more likely to go over. Goff's more likely to go over. Josh Reynolds is more likely to go over in targets. Again, the only thing that's really hard about correlation on PrizePicks and Underdog is compared to Dabble and some of these other, fantasy sites like Boom, they're a little more stringent on the correlation rules. But regardless, hopefully they're not adding in a payout shift for this. So what we can do is we can take St. Brown, Stafford, and Peoples-Jones. Stafford, Peoples-Jones over in receiving yards. So again, we're basically hoping in this correlation slip for a shootout, And you can see Underdog will add, they will block certain types of correlation or they'll try to reduce the payout. So really it's just kind of trying to maneuver and not get a payout shift. So there we go. So you can see they're not adding a payout shift here. 5 for 5, 20x payout, right? And we're basically just hoping for a Ram shootout. So this play seems pretty good, so we can lock it in. And again, some of the more niche books, they're not as popular. Dabble, Better, Boom Fantasy. I get it. They're not as popular. But, it's pretty crazy on Dabble. You can basically just take Mahomes over in passing, Tua over in passing, and then all the main receivers over in receiving yards, and there's no payout shift, right? You can see, this play on Dabble probably is a little better. Goff over, Stafford over, St. Brown over, Kupp over. You're just stacking quarterbacks and wide receivers to go over in receiving yards, in passing yards. And it's crazy, right? It's absolutely crazy. Because again, if you look at FanDuel, they would drastically reduce your payout if you took Goff's over as well as St. Brown's over. So if you go here, right, if you take Stafford's over and you take St. Brown's over, or that is not what I meant to take. If you take Goff's over and St. Brown's over, only plus 164 odds. Odds on Goff's over and under are the same, but you switch it to an under, it goes up to plus 329, right? Whereas PrizePicks, they give you Underdog, unless they add a payout shift on these fixed payout fantasy sites like Dabble, Better, Underdog, PrizePicks, give you the same payout even if you're stacking positively correlated outcomes. So what we can do is we can go here. And hopefully try to find some more bets. Some more bets for today. So here's the other play on Dabble. I already gave this out on Twitter. But again, just like PrizePicks, they give you the same payout. If you take a player's over or his under, you're going to get the same payout regardless. I mean, PrizePicks is adding a payout shift here. But for PrizePicks, any 4-pick entry, assuming they don't add a payout shift, if you're stacking correlation, you take an over or an under, you get the same payout, right? It's the same thing on Dabble. Except what you're going to see is Dabble has Sengun's line at 4.5. All the books have the over heavily favored, so that's a great play to go with. So you may be thinking oh, let me just bet this on PrizePicks. PrizePicks has bumped him up to 5, right? On Dabble, they have him 4.5. On PrizePicks, they're being smart. They bumped him up to 5. So the value goes away, or at least a lot of the value goes away. And again, sports betting is about getting an edge, winning long term. No one's going to win every bet. So what else do we have here? So maybe there's another good correlation slip. Again, it looks like most of the correlations on Dabble. That's the book that you can pretty easily beat. Stafford over in completions, Goff over in passing yards. I mean, there are some other ones. Josh Allen over in completions, Mason Rudolph over in completions, Dawson Knox, Deontay Johnson, Diggs. I mean, this play's kind of interesting. There's definitely some other correlation plays. But anyways, we locked in some good bets, early. We got this correlation play on Underdog, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This play on Fliff, Josh Allen over 8.5 rushing attempts. And we got down a parlay play slip, a 7-pick entry. We can do one last sweep. It's pretty early in the morning. Oh, well, here we go. Jokic over 20.5 rebounds plus assists. Fliff has this at minus 115. Other books kind of have been ripping Jokic's line higher, have this around minus 135. So sure, we can lock in this bet for tonight as well. So what we can do is we can go here, and then we want to go to rebounds plus assists. So let's get rid of this crap. And we want to take Jokic. And again, Fliff has a max bet size of 250 if you hit this max button. So that's all I'm going to be able to get it for. And again, the odds you're getting, the price you're getting, it really matters. You got to be finding value in the market. But I think, too, I feel like there was... No, Dabble had his line at 20. They bumped it up to 20.5. So anyways. Yep, so we'll call it a day for now. We got 2 plays on Fliff. Jokic over 20.5 rebounds plus assists. We got Josh Allen over 8.5 rushing attempts at minus 105. And yeah, thanks so much for your time. I'll probably be back on live stream later when books drop more odds and there's more good bets available.